Today's video may come across as somewhat shocking to some of you. Others may think that, looking at the title and thumbnail, that this is going to be some sort of a clickbait video. It's not. What I'm going to share with you in today's video is absolutely 100% true. And I'm going to show you, I've read a lot of these reports on the future of food for our societies, but this one is one of the first where they've really put it out there, and they're proud to put it out there. It's not a government report. It's not from the WEF, World Economic Forum, or any of these other organizations. This is actually one of many that I've read. This one is from a private business, one of the largest supermarkets in the United Kingdom, called Sainsbury's. If you're from the UK, you will have heard of this supermarket. It's not just a supermarket, it is also smaller stores all over the place. It's huge, this business. Let me take you over to the report, because I honestly cannot believe what I have read today, and I think this blows out of the water everything else that you've ever seen before on this channel. So here we go. Get ready for this one. This is called The Future of Food report by, here it is, Sainsbury's, one of the largest supermarkets in the United Kingdom. Now, I've taken the liberty to highlight sections of this for you, because otherwise we would be going through this all day with analyzing every last detail. So I want to begin with this section here, and we're going to go through, and it gets more dystopian the further along we go. It reads, in 5 years' time, alongside medication, our doctors could be incorporating food advice as health prevention techniques to help alleviate our ailments. Nothing wrong with that at all. That sounds like good advice. If you honestly believe the doctor's advice of today, that they wouldn't be biased by the food industry, which, remember, is 90% owned pretty much. If you look at what's on the shelves these days, a lot of the products in supermarkets are owned by the same large corporations. So if you believe that they wouldn't be influenced and try and push things on you without getting some sort of monetary gain, then that would be great. So let's put that to the side. Again, this gets more dystopian as we get through. We're going to start very light here. It's expected that a quarter of all British people will be vegetarian in 2025. So in just, 8 months' time is 2025, up from, that's 12.5% today. Half of us will, so 50% will identify as flexitarians, obviously something they've just made up. And they've already seen a 24% increase in customers searching for vegan products online, and a 65% increase in sales of plant-based products year on year, as customers increasingly consider a vegan, vegetarian, or flexitarian lifestyle. Actually, I've seen data that says people are starting to go away from these lifestyles, but okay, we'll put that to the side for now. In 30 years, jellyfish and other invasive species could be found on the fish counter, as recent research has found them to be full of nutrients and vitamins. And we could even be producing lab-grown aisle, where people can pick up cultured meats and kits to grow meat at home. Meat as we know it today could instead start to become a luxury product. Actually, when we get to further on, you'll see that there will be no meat in the future. There will be 0 animals as livestock in the future. You will see this. It's unlikely that we'll be consuming our key nutrients through... Sorry, let me say that again. It's likely that we'll be consuming our key nutrients through implants. We're going to get onto these implants shortly. Again, if you're just joining the stream, this is 100% legitimate. People are going to think this is some sort of sci-fi movie. It's not. This is real. They give these examples. Julia has just returned home to her parents from university in London, where she's studying her degree in eco-health. Sure, that's going to be a very important degree in the future. And now she's cooking for her grandparents, designed to prevent dementia and loss of brain function as you age. This new mind diet, they're calling it. Well, actually, if you look at dementia and Alzheimer's and things like that, and any doctors online or researchers can validate this. It didn't exist before, the 1970s, before a lot of these new foods came in, like margarines and stuff. So again, it's not medical advice, someone can validate that. Secretly, this is her grandfather. He would prefer to eat steak, but she's determined that the whole family follow a more flexitarian diet. Right, so he would rather eat a steak, but she's dictating because of her eco-health degree. And again, this is all word weaving. Remember, it's implanted words throughout these documents. It's to say that she knows better than he does because she has this eco degree. According to scientists, diet is the single biggest way for people to reduce their environmental impact, even more so than how they travel. As the global trend for meat consumption increases, Britons are changing their diets to eat less meat. Really? I think not. Again, that is sort of word weaving there to try and lead us. Vegetarians, including vegans, look set to make up a quarter of British people in 2025. So this is just in next year. They're saying that this will be 50% flexitarians, 25% will be vegetarians and vegans. Now, I've highlighted this in green, and I'll explain why. It talks about this chef in Bristol, and it sources almost exclusively within a 50-mile radius, working with several Bristol community growing projects. I actually think this is a great idea. So I want to just show you that I'm not completely against everything in this report. This is a great idea. Fresh organic vegetables straight from the farm to the restaurant. I think this is a fantastic idea. Hydroponics, they're talking about how everything, and I mean everything in the future, will be hydroponics. Now, please drop in the comments below around this point, because I have eaten lots of veg and green leafy salads that have been grown via hydroponics. It's been with clients, or I've been to restaurants, or people have said, oh, I watch your channel, and they see, it's their restaurant, or, people want to invite me to their farm and all this sort of stuff. I'm just saying now, and I want you to drop in the comments, if you've eaten veg and things like that that's been grown by hydroponics. For me, it didn't taste the same. It tasted, I can't describe it. I don't know if it's anything to do with the soil and what the nutrients that goes through the soil, but I found that the taste of the hydroponic grown green leafy stuff and the veg and stuff, it just didn't have much flavor to it. So I don't know if that's just my taste buds, but please drop a comment if you have also experienced this. But they're saying in the future it's going to be all hydroponics. And again, they talk about there's going to be less agrochemicals like pesticides, and it will use less water. Really, you think these big companies are going to give up on the billions they're making from pesticides? Good luck with all of that. So again, this is next year. We could begin to see a rise in cultivation of herbs, microgreens, salads, shoots, and all of this stuff. So this is great. I'm fully for these things. I think it's wonderful. But this is where we're starting to get a little weird here. So Google Maps will provide accurate, tailored information to customers, whether they be interested in carbon, calories, or chemicals. And it's all going to be delivering personalized information to you. And again, this is where we get into chips and everything else in a moment. With all the information in one place. That's convenient. Well, hold on. Where does it say here nutrients? It's got carbon, it's got calories, and it's got chemicals. But where's the nutrients? Surely the nutrients is the most important thing. I want to know what the nutrients are, not those other things. So here we go, Head of Quality and Innovation. In the last 18 months, we have introduced over 100 alternative protein products led by our Love Your Veg range. However, that we know that we have a role to play in expanding, here it is. We have a role to play in expanding nations' diets, as the current foods we eat aren't sustainable for a global population that will increase by 50% in the next 30 years. I disagree. I don't think the population of the world is going to increase by 50% in the next 30 years. I think we could even see a decrease in the next 30 years. We'll have to see how that plays out. Traditional protein for human consumption comes from meat and fish. However, as food production faces multiple limiting factors for land, water, and energy, by the way, this gets crazy shortly, and as environmental impacts mount, scientists are calling for a change in our diets and the way we consume our protein. Yeah, but look who is funding a lot of the scientists. That's another point you've got to look at. The non-traditional or alternative proteins market is expected to grow more than 25% by next year. One of these to take the industry by storm was jackfruit. Now, I've highlighted this because I've actually tasted jackfruit as an alternative protein, and it is quite nice. It's quite popular in Southeast Asia. So again, no issues with that. My issue is where we get to this stuff. Insects through the brand Eat Grub. And this is where we get really, really wild shortly as to some of these mandates around insects. Here it is. This is what you are going to be eating in the future, apparently. And how are they going to do it? You're about to find out. For those of you who were shocked when, actually, let me just take a break a sec. If you remember, if you're from the UK, you remember the sugar tax that came in. And now it's almost impossible to get a drink with sugar, normal sugar. You basically can't get one. It's so difficult. You've got to go to supermarkets, you've got to find these drinks if you want one with sugar. It's all artificial sweeteners. And we don't know the impact of what these are having on our bodies. I know at least a dozen people, and I won't give details other than that, who have said to me, Neil, I've switched from sugary drinks to these diet drinks and I'm getting bigger. I can't figure it out. And I'm saying, what else have you changed? Well, and again, they're not asking me for health advice here. They're just, in passing. And they're saying, I've switched from these sugary drinks to the diet drinks. I said, well, look, I'm no expert, but I'm just applying logic here. Maybe it's something to do with the chemicals. These are not natural chemicals. They are man-made chemicals that are in these drinks. Maybe just take a look at that. It could be contributing to it. I don't know. I'm just a logical, rational guy who's good at thinking through things. So that's for everybody watching, I think, as well. Now, they're talking about these unhealthy diets, and this is where we got into the other report the other day, and we're going to go into that in a video this week at some point. And they're talking about these 11 million deaths globally as a result of an unhealthy diet. So they talk about all these things and what they're going to be doing in the future in terms of mandates around diets as well. I've got another video coming out. This is going to be, by the way, legal. They're going to be passing laws in the future around health and diet as to what, because of the strain that it's having on the healthcare system. They are blaming people for eating too much and all these other stuff. Wait till we get into the crazy stuff here. The thinking in preventative medicine through food and nutrition is now beginning to incorporate diet into its healthcare rather than relying solely on medications, and food businesses are beginning to support customers in making healthy choices. Really, I don't think so. In addition to offering products such as bio-fortified foods with potential health benefits. Now, let's go through to the next scenario then. Okay. Julia, now we're getting more dystopian here, who lives in Cornwall, gets a regular customer. It's Mr. Walker. The local counsellor comes to the facility every week to select cuts for his family dinner and watch the meat being printed out. Can you see this here? Printed out. Her business, which offers a range of environmentally friendly proteins, really took off after the decade of abattoirs in the UK, after the decline of abattoirs in the UK. Alongside cultured meat, she offers jellyfish, this is what you're going to be eating, seaweed, and algae, or as the Americans say, algae, sometimes fresh and mostly dried and prepared on-site and sold as pasta, flakes, and powders. Now, here we go into cultured meats. With the world's population expected to reach 9 billion by 2050, again, I disagree, it will not be sustainable to produce and consume the same quantities of meat that we are currently eating. Governments around the world are taking steps to persuade citizens to change their eating habits. This is where the tax comes in, the sugar tax. In 2018, the UK introduced a levy on sugary drinks in an attempt to improve public health by encouraging the public to consume less sugar. A recent report suggests a similar kind of sin tax. Interesting, they've used a biblical word here, a sin tax. So they're saying it's sinful to eat meat, which is actually the opposite of what the Bible says. Funny enough, the irony of it. On meat may be on the cards in the future. Cellular proteins, meaty tissue cultivated independently from animals using stem cells. Again, if you just joined the stream, I know this probably comes across crazy. The big shift in 2050 is predicted to come through a concerted effort to change social norms and make such products appeal to customers or consumers. This will possibly involve a radical shift from perceiving meat as innate to animals perceiving cultured meat as a healthy and efficient protein tissue that is lab grown, much in the same way we would brew beer. I think that tells you exactly what they're planning there. How are they going to do it? Beautiful photography, graphic videos. So very similar to what you see with cigarette cartons and packets now. Interviews with visionary scientists who are completely unbiased, and they definitely haven't been paid for their opinion. Experts, same again, renowned chefs and critics, I doubt very much. The design fiction platform aims to provoke discussion on the ethics, aesthetics, and prospects of lab-grown meat with a view to making a new food culture possible. Now, it talks about the cost and how much it's costing at the moment, but they're expecting to get this to just £5 very shortly. And rather than getting a cut of meat at the supermarket, consumers may well be able to get their own grow-it-yourself ingredients for home-cultured meat. Fish, eggs, I don't think so. I've just cut my chickens. Milk or gelatin. And again, you look at milk and it's not even, it's so far away from what real milk, like raw milk, is now anyway. You're not really getting raw milk, and any dairy farmer can tell you that if they're online right now. Now, what else then? Explosive growth of jellyfish. This is what you're going to be eating, and seaweed. These are your food that you get. I want to get to the really crazy stuff. We're going to get to the really wild stuff in a second. Here we go. Okay, it's 10 a.m. Monday, 3rd of April, 2069. Jill, Julia's granddaughter, I see the running trend here, feels a vibration in her wrist. Here we go. She taps her skin twice to switch off the alarm, which notifies her nutrition drip. This is like the Matrix or something here, to prepare her breakfast shot, which was dispatched last night from Sainsbury's in preparation. Today, again, this is a drip. This is a bag or something connected to her body. I don't exactly know. Today is the 50, and this is weird. Today is the 50-year anniversary of Drawdown, the first mission of robotic farmers to resuscitate the desert. Now, why? This is UK. What desert are they talking about in the UK? Jill blinks right to the latest news and closes her eyes to watch the report. Again, Black Mirror. This is all inside her eyes. It's as if, why would there be deserts in the UK in this 50-year anniversary? Again, it reminds me of something dystopian, like a nuclear war or something. The local community outside of Leeds, again, UK, where Jill's ancestors lived as far back as 2019. This is really weird. Are planning a social eating experience to celebrate. I don't know where to. Here we go. Next. Half Earth is a principle where half of the Earth's land and surface is designated as a human and development free reserve. Read that again. Half the land and surface of the Earth is a human and development free reserve. So this is out of bounds to human beings. It's a criminal and prosecutable act if you go to these areas in the future. So they're talking about climate and stuff like that. Society may be compelled to implement previously unthinkable measures, such as the circular economy, the half-Earth rule, and introduction of new legal measures that prohibit environmental damage. These would restrict waste and the destruction of ecosystems while ensuring human development takes up no more than half the Earth's surface. Read this again. It is wild, this report. I mean, here, microchips. A microchip implant is essentially a highly sophisticated personal fitness, nutrition, and health monitor connected to the internet that can also be used as a form of data and ID carrier. Exactly what we've been talking about. A neural lace is an ultra-thin mesh that can be implanted in the skull, forming a collection of electrodes capable of monitoring brain function. It creates an interface between the brain and the machine. The machine, you can see that in black and white. People will be chipped and connected like never before. The advent of personal microchips and neurolaces has the potential to see all our genetic health and situational data recorded, stored and analyzed by algorithms, which could work out exactly what we need to support us at a particular time in our life. Sainsbury's is going to play a critical role to support this. So anyone who goes to Sainsbury's and supports them, you're supporting this. Oh, wow. While nutrition patches and implants may replace our day-to-day meals. Can you see this? I'm not making this up. You can see this on the screen. Please let me know. Because I just don't know what to say. I genuinely don't know what to say to this report. This is wild. Drop a comment. Please share this with people, because I don't think, if you tell people this stuff, they're not going to believe you. You've got to share the video. Otherwise, they're not going to believe that this is actually what Sainsbury's has put out as the future of food. We've been talking about it for a long time. We've been saying this stuff's coming, and now we can see it in black and white. It's crazy, and that's all I got to say.